Thanks for clicking on my video. This is going to be my review of the Yuneec Typhoon G /Q500. So I'm making this video because when I was trying to decide which drone I really wanted, I was looking for so much information and I couldn't find it all in one place. I had to dig through the Yuneec forums, I had to dig through the Yuneec website, I had to dig through YouTube just to find all of the info, and not just like one video. I had to watch tons of videos and read tons of different posts. So I figured I'd just put it all in one place, this video. So this first vid is going to be more like hacks for the drone itself, so the flying device, the UAV. And the second video is going to be more about the camera. I still recommend that you watch this video because it still has a lot of useful information in it. But the camera part as well is going to go more in depth. Alright, number one tip is definitely make sure your propellers are on properly. I say that because I've had 3 crashes. One was big and it was because the propeller wasn't on properly. Propeller flew out, it was a windy day, so it whipped the drone around in the sky. It wasn't too high though, luckily, so the damage to the drone wasn't anything really, but my battery fell out when it whipped around. It broke the latch on the back. Which I had to fix, but now the fix that I made, like, that'll never happen again. It's so much stronger than the original latch that came with the drone, which I was always wary of, to be honest. But propellers, man, like, that's definitely a big one. So what I do to make sure they're on properly, I don't use the hand grip when tightening, because one of the warnings that they give you is make sure you don't over tighten when you're using the hand grip. So I just use my bare hands. I squeeze and hold one of the rotors in place and screw on the propeller until that rotor starts to turn in the hand that I'm squeezing it on. When that happens, I know it's on tight enough. Usually I don't need the hand grip to unscrew it, but you just might. So your first flight, your first takeoff, you don't want to do it in smart mode. Most people, their first flight or every flight, they're standing like 3 meters away from the drone, so like it's like right in front of them. If you do that in smart mode, the drone, because of its geofence with the transmitter, the drone is gonna try to run away from you and it more than likely will crash. So angle mode all the way. Another thing about your first flight, or just every time you fly, put the drone up in the air without the camera first. It's something I always do just to make sure that I put on the propellers correctly, just to make sure it's handling the wind alright. Because the last thing I want to do is put the drone up in the sky, and as soon as I do that, it crashes and the camera is broken. One thing to know, so if you change geographical location drastically, you must recalibrate your drone. So why? I noticed some jello effect when me and my wife went to Trinidad in the Caribbean recently. So and when I went through DJI as well as Yuneec forums, the most common fix was to simply recalibrate. So the sensors were out of whack because I was in a completely different place in the world. And since I have recalibrated, it seems to have fixed it. Flight modes. So there's 2 modes, smart mode and angle mode. Don't practice flying in smart mode. It's what they sometimes call headless mode, and it's stupid. So basically, if the drone is sideways and this is the front, if you hit forward, whereas you would, like anyone who's into drones or games or other RC stuff, you're gonna expect the drone to go that way, which is what angle mode does. The drone instead moves away from you, where you're holding the transmitter. So if you hit forward, it's gonna go that way. If you hit back, it's gonna go that way. That's very counterintuitive, and it actually almost caused me to crash the drone a few times. So here's where the sim beats the cheap drone. You can fly 24/7 if you want. So it doesn't matter if wifey doesn't want you flying a drone in the house, or it's raining outside, you can just go on a computer and fly it. There's no downtime, so just keep your transmitter plugged in and keep flying until you're happy. So reason number 3, I would say, is you're using the same transmitter that you plan to use in the real world. So the practice is going to be more relevant. I think the last big thing is, or there's actually 2 more things. So the response of the drone in the sim, according to your input, is, I would say, very accurate. So exactly what you see in a sim is more or less what it's going to do in the real world. And then lastly, because the sim exaggerates how the wind affects the drone just a little bit, it actually makes it easier to fly it in the real world. So what I mean by that is, even with GPS on, where in the real world the zone is going to hold its position very, very well, in a sim it doesn't, so it drifts just a little bit. That's basically what happens when the GPS is off, which is what they call manual mode, where the drone gets to like 70 kilometers per hour plus. I'm not joking, it gets really fast, and there's a couple of videos I'm going to try to put in the description showing just how fast the drone gets. So it's not a slow drone, but what the sim does is kind of train you how to fly the drone in the event that the GPS goes off. So once you get used to still having to keep position manually, in a sense, even though the GPS is on, when you go out in the real world and the GPS is on and it's just holding its position, it makes it a breeze to fly. So my personal experience, I feel so much more confident in my capability flying because of the simulator. One thing to know, this drone actually handles the wind very well. When we went to the Caribbean in Trinidad, actually, once it hit about 9 a.m., it was windy up until like 6 p.m. so till it got dark. The drone actually handled the wind there no problem. I was so scared the whole time I didn't even fly it on the beach, which when I realized it could handle the wind, I was really upset about it. But as you can see in the video, it handles the wind like a champ. Okay, so definitely upgrade your firmware. Upgrading the transmitter firmware, you want to make sure that the zip file that you download, you extract only the contents of that folder to a micro SD card and install it to the back of the transmitter. If you put anything else in on the SD card, it's not going to work and you won't be able to see any of the files. So when you extract it and you check the micro SD card, there should be one folder that says firmware and another zip file that says update. Those are the only things that should be on there. Now, must be said, it's supposedly important that you download the A version if you're in North America and the E version if you're in Europe. Now, it's mostly to be compliant with the laws, but apart from that, what some people are saying is the Wi-Fi frequencies which feed your video, they aren't compatible with European phones if you download the A version, and vice versa. So if you don't care about the laws, that's up to you, but you should download the E version if you're in Europe and the A version if you're in North America. Now, if you're like me, and before I actually found the 2.4A version, I did download the 2.4E and realized that, hey, you can't downgrade or you can't flash a lower version. So what the hell am I gonna do? So all you need to do is rename the file to make the camera software or whatever think that you're upgrading. Another thing with the transmitter, now after you do that, I highly recommend keeping that memory card or a memory card of any size really installed in your transmitter. The reason for that, when there's an install memory card, it records the telemetry data from the flights, from your flights basically. So what that means is if you ever lose your drone or it flies away or whatever, you could actually find it back by putting the data file into an Excel spreadsheet. It will open on those, and then you could input the longitudinal and latitudinal data into a map, plot it into a map, and you could find and pinpoint the exact location of where your drone was at the end of your flight. So this is more like a hack in a sense to make the drone more portable. So we took off the legs. So there's 2 screws holding them in. If you have an Allen key set, all you need to do is probably find the smallest one. But one of the smaller ones will definitely fit. Unscrew the legs. And when you unscrew the legs, you don't want to just yank it out. Your antenna is actually taped down onto the left leg, I think. So you want to take that tape out first, and then carefully pull the legs off. You'll notice that the antenna is just fished through a hole at the base of one of the legs. So what I did was cut a groove so that you don't have to fish it through that hole anymore. You just fish through the slot. That makes it a lot safer removing and installing the legs frequently. And then I use Velcro to hold the legs down, and also Velcro to hold the antenna onto the leg. Now doing this helped make the drone so much more portable. Of course, with the propellers off, I was able to take it onto a plane. It fit in the overhead storage as well as under the seat. Now if you like that solution, by all means, it's worked really well for me so far. So it's definitely one to consider. However, I have to say I was lost, but now I'm found. So basically, what I realized when I was strapping the drone to the back of the backpack, fully built up, is that instead of having the legs shoot back, why not let the legs hug me almost? I realized that you could actually wrap the legs around the backpack, and the legs don't, so with the transmitter and the camera, the way that I pack it in the backpack, if I lay it on a flat surface, the legs don't even touch the ground, which means just as easily as I took it on a plane with the legs broken down and the drone strapped to the backpack, I could, in the same way, actually take it fully built up without the propellers on the drone, of course, do the exact same thing. I actually believe they're both about the same height. That actually was an awesome discovery for me, because I've always preferred to have the legs attached and screwed in, because I was just concerned that when it's really windy, the velcroed legs, because there is a little bit of play, there might be a chance for some stability issues, and that could affect your video footage. So that's it for the tips, tricks, and hacks for the drone. The next video is going to be the tips, tricks, and hacks for the camera. So if you like this video, like and subscribe. Any questions, or if you feel like I left anything out, leave us in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.